Okay. All right, guys. Famula, let me say you there. I hope we're live now. Sure, say we're live. This now a joint broadcast on TV Salon, and of course we had, as usual, we carry today for view some weekend coverage of what's on the happen at Sierra Leone, specifically about the recent development as the US don't decide to impose visa restrictions on some individuals and government officials in other country. There. And we're there, me and Alpha Kamara from Washington, and we get to colleague now we had studios. We now Sengbe Pierre, we there for can discuss and actually look into some of the issues now because they're very important. And also Sengbe Pierre yesterday did a program on this, and also a lot of things happen. The engineer they say we get feedback. I don't know how the feedback will come on. But I just nothing from me over here. Okay. But yeah, this is not TV Salon and Weird, and we'll get Sengbe over and Sengbe, they get me clear?
Very clear, Alpha.
Yes. Thank you so much. So a lot of things. Yesterday you said behind on this program where people and want really know what actually don't they go on and what's in the happen. So in summary, what's actually people really want to know about yesterday, we're going to talk on this issue as the US don't decide for give visa restrictions on Sierra Leoneans, some government officials and other people inside this government. What's in yesterday they come up?
Well, a lot of people want to know that the people waiting at the list. That are the biggest question, one of the biggest answer now where people want. But unfortunately, even the United States, the embassy inside Freetown, no come up with names. But they tell me clear, if you left to win up for it along the lines, they say all the one, and not like the one number, the one the way where they are the greatest responsibility for undermine democracy inside the country, for rig the election, for make sure that they steal the election from the will of the people. These are the people in way this thing they affect directly. And like we been making calls some names there yesterday, and we don't know no more now whose position way because that's not the focus of the program today. Whose position way, for example, matter be good, especially with regards this United Nations summit will be this September. So this is not the biggest thing now because we don't see from the social media. Some people they say UN they call Marabio so again for Allah. But again, remember saying na America and na their own country around they get the right for allow who that for good, who that not for good. No matter who that they invite the person. They can allow yes Marabio for good, but what about the cabal with Kiwaka with because sometimes they Kiwaka some people don't even get business. So that particular program, we see the last time Usai, for example, the first lady go to the United Nations, I can go and begin, they can go see their blinded, they begin ask questions, say, who's going to play? So the United States get for look at some of them people and they say, no, not getting very important. Even some government officials they get for the look. Because what the government they fail for do not for no say, where will they go out? We got ambassadors. So some people already care for the name of value. So the US embassy now, with the kind of recent distinction, therefore they look at them and say, how we do we work for you? Then people will can say they're not value, they're not useful at all. So please drop them, not the kid in how we call it thing. Visa, now you and a few other people already give. Because now program will go attend. But maybe the talk behind the scene and then they allow you for let you take, serious one because this is what people get interest on. If Maradio, for example, we remember 2018. When he win the election and go to America for the first time, where people are begin for dance and they say they go America, they say they go America. That first time the way he go, it not be work all side. It began just few side they side it go where they begin very important thing for go do. And that might be in heaven that day because they very much happy for go back to America. But now we find out say the 2018 they repeat again, but no, waiting at the extent, what are the greatest punishment with this yet to face. And this time people want for you now.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And as Pierre, yesterday a program became on Weird, of course, they discussed this issue. And today we decided to do a joint broadcast, TV Salon and Weird with it live. Continue for all the comments on all the channel, the platform there. The comment they hope say they're nice, or we look good, maybe we can put them either read them or we can put them on the screen. But yeah, definitely Fambul, Mina Alpha and we'll get Bible. First, make I go to the statement where the US State Department put on their website, and I will read them in English. And we'll try to explain them briefly what actually they say. They said the United States is committed to supporting and advancing democracy in Sierra Leone and around the world. It means the US still commits for support democracy in Sierra Leone and all over the world. Okay. They said, but today, this day I will put this, and say, I am announcing a new visa restriction policy under Section 212 A3C of the Immigration and National Act for undermining the democratic process in the June 2023 Sierra Leone elections. All right. So the U.S. State Department and the post before say they don't announce bizarre restriction policy under the section what I don't call on Immigration and Nationality Act for the one that we undermine democratic process at the June 2023 election. Na Salon. He said, under this policy, the United States will pursue visa restrictions for those believed to be responsible for or complicit in or undermining democracy in Sierra Leone, including through the manipulation or rigging of the electoral process, intimidation of voters, election observers, or civil society organizations through threats or acts of physical violence or the abuse or violation of related human rights in Sierra Leone. So this expand, right? It talk about the elections. It talk about the one that way intimidate voters. It talk about the one that way intimidate election officials or even the observers. They also talk about the one that way complicit. Where sometimes even they see what they happen, they not talk. Or some they try for play around for make sure say everything okay. All right. For undermining democracy in a salon. All right. Either for manipulate the result and the one that way actually participate in the process. People like Connor or whatever. Okay. Or that one and they will try for do other things. And also talk about abuse or violation of related human rights in Sierra Leone. So apart from the elections,
the one that we join hand together, for example, after you call you don't forget for calling the other commissioners they name them. Because they
yeah,
all play
well,
serious role
I think I
in this.
did, man. I think I did, man. I make I say, like, for example, Mohamed Kone who conduct the elections, right?
Yes, so
Okay, and the
people
other one, they
yes,
will
so
be now.
let people then get
Yeah.
the truth now, let them understand. Remember, waiting people will say the other one they self mix. For example, the time where they do the nomination, where Samuel go, we see
Mm-hmm.
the cold shoulder where they give to them. Where Madabio go, we see the kind of zeal where they sign it. Say they even carry it away. Go snap na Madabio picture with the sign of 5 years, 5 more years. If the commissioners then oh, we sit down there and talk we don't discuss them before this thing. If the commissioners they don't endorse Madabio with another 5 years, what do you think say will happen? It means say whatever the outcome of the result, if it not be in their own favor, then they twist them to how they want them. So of course, then self mix for this particular thing and then come with them as well. Not forget the ONS
Okay.
too.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So let's move a little bit away from the elections because also the statement says, or the abuse or violation of related human rights in Sierra Leone. So now even pull the elections small. Now, this particular section they talk about related human rights abuses and violations. And me and you and other people, we don't they continuously they talk and say from the statement and where the US been on the pull about the elections and even before the election, the human rights violations in Salon, the government need to pay attention. And a lot of things to happen. So this particular section now say, got much for do the elections, where they talk about people the abuse and violation of related human rights. We got plenty in other countries, they say, clear. All right. We know what did happen. What don't they talk? Things and the way that happen all over the place. So this particular section, they talk about that. I'll spend some time in these human rights issues first. Not just put the election a little bit aside and look at the human rights abuse and violations then. This particular clause, this sentence, what
Interrelated, you're not able
yeah.
to talk about this human rights abuse or violation, during the election
Mm-hmm.
because it throughout the clock. From 2018 to 2023, all of that happened, and we all know what it means. How the country along the way divided along political lines. So it's very much difficult for let you say they're not linked to each other. For example, when we see human rights violations, then where that Pademba road, when are the first biggest thing that will happen, the biggest one, you get the Tumbo, you get the other side. Then. Well, the Pademba road, we see outside government ministers, then government parliamentarians, then the Sojaman when they say that he take the lead for going to Pademba road and deal with the border than another place there. They celebrate them after that one day. We took Usa again, Lionel and in him always they play for bad thing at the country. Usa he come and say the presidential guards they able to take up the 100 military where Salon gets. We see how much this government and Madabio interestingly not the cost on them things they did. Madabio the only talk when he know say this thing also they threaten in power, but anything when are the lives of people like one day. Not take for example, the time when that thing happened to McKinney, the day when people like elect how you people like wicked thing. We see, for example, the country they also we sit down, yeah, United States and France, the whatever country you call, you see their citizens there, they angry. We see the cities, let's take for example, recently France, who said that the protest for take an ordinary salary or working, how we call this thing, where retirement age,
Retirement.
ordinary age. We see what happen. Come out there. We see this being thing. The biggest or the biggest protest goes inside France. Now, outside, they say this policeman, one after this bobo, they go through time inside and then train when you go inside the city. The train bomb, where they can call tram, a bomb. Now nobody lost in life. We see the kind of protest, we see the kind of danger with the damage that they cause. But interestingly, apart from that, nobody when they count, they don't count no money again. Say a loss in life. They don't count nobody when they say they fire directly with that thing, how you call them, tear gas. But unfortunately, in the country, nobody not get it right. If you dare try for protest or do anything, they will tell you say that you find a lawlessness. That's what you consider.
Okay. Now, Sengepe, very good points. Now, the next sentence they talk about family members. They say family members of short persons may also be subject to these restrictions. Persons who undermine the democratic process in Sierra Leone, including in the lead up to, during, and following Sierra Leone's 2023 elections, may be found ineligible for US visas under this policy. Now, these are very great points, because the process they will lead up to, not so during the election only, but they say the process they will lead up to and following the election. That a lot of things don't happen. Like I used to say, we don't say a lot of statements. People and try to manipulate. What some of we the writes, articles or posts. People and they can't talk other things. Try for make like say they talk science or whatever. Now we don't reach so, don't reach so. But the family members, an interesting point. Let's say this don't happen. Somebody say, oh, me on picking I want them go holiday in America, or let them just go and go relax. Like deny them visa. Why this important? Them picking and they not commit crime, they not do nothing. But because when you na them papa or the mama or then you person where they you don't commit them crime there, you don't go just sit down and no more and say let them go chill. No, they can deny them visa. All right. Why this important? Because if you say them picking and they or the woman, they're not commit crime, right?
Then get one word where they can use, where they want for describe you. For say you get picking. Then they describe you as they call them parent,
Mm-hmm.
And other word where they can use for describe that same position, they say guardian,
Yeah.
It means say you get the right for direct you picking to the right way.
Mm-hmm.
But you when are the papa or the mama, you don't bad the picking and then something the back foot the front foot to do, not the father. So now that makes them send one in shot to the picking and now say you get the opportunity now you right for go any side and enjoy. But because of the bad thing when papa don't do, because of the bad thing when mama don't do, you pay the price small. Now like when picking go to guys, you say if you not come that, man, you need go play in a park, for example. Say it can right for go, but you deprive them for let him know say what thing he do a wrong, or for example, what thing papa do a wrong. So if he begin get the idea, the sense, and not will do the same thing. Like for example, what thing happen outside this country and Gabon. Outside the papa, outside you go to. Not to the begin.
The begin.
So that bad head they want to cut that chain day. Say when your papa don't do something, you foresee say a bad, let you not feel say a good thing. You tomorrow yourself can copy the same kind of bad thing. Now the same thing and they should make them they punish them now, including the family members then. Yeah, let them know say tomorrow if you begin to do something bad, you for able for advice, but if you not advise, that means say no all. I mean they say we not join that for do the same thing. Yeah. So it just obvious for saying that the reason that they will make them do that are for cough the bad and blood where already the papa or the mama want for pass through them where it's not good. But if they don't begin to say punishment would they if a father and papa in dirty bad habits and this punishment would they go try for the think now along waiting good and waiting wrong because as far as they're concerned right now, watch mother be picking for example, they all the time when the election come they all not join up for make video. Because as far as they're concerned, what in the papa they do in the country, it's good. So now they send message to them say you papa and you mama they need to do good thing. And the message that they send to them now.
Okay, thank you, Sengbepe. Well, of course, we Sengbepe they say Madabio, maybe me go they say President Madabio because in your angle with me angle maybe it can be a little bit different, right? In the revolutionaries, all right? Okay, now I'll move on.
I not get that.
I say, well, you can say Marabio, me go to say President Marabio.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, family, listen, I join broadcast on Weird and TV Salon. And it comes to channel them. I the comments where they talk about the visa restrictions on Sierra Leone. Sierra Leoneans and other government officials, and we don't participate for either for the election, tip the people and vote, or participate in human rights violations and abuses in that country. So the year don't decide for the visa restrictions. All right. Anytime now, there is an interview where the U.S. public affairs person at the U.S. embassy in Atombu with the local radio station and try to explain their own point on what exactly this means. And not forget to we also get a section over for it on waiting the happen if a US view of visa restriction, waiting the partner, the US Constitution, we talk about that. And also will be some example on other people, including presidents and other countries the way they may not get visa restriction for America and waiting that mean, right? We're gonna stay tuned, and at the end of the program, we'll go for end with the newspaper reviews. But now I don't know if the engineer already. Maybe we are in the interview where the U.S. Public Affairs President Donald Trump for talk about this visa restriction and what exactly the U.S. intend for doing and why they put on Sierra Leone right now.
Hello.
Yes. Hello. I don't know if
Yeah, hello. Are you getting
ready
us
for the
clearly?
interview. All right.
All right. Let's
Yes.
call you again because we are having some bad feedback.
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
All right. So, why has the United States decided to take this course of action?
That's a great question. So, as we have stated since our first official statement came out regarding the elections, we had some concerns regarding the election process and the vote tabulation. So, in support of our goals of promoting democracy globally, yesterday the Secretary of State announced a new visa restriction policy for individuals who are believed to be responsible for or complicit in undermining the democratic process during the elections this past June. The value of doing a program like this is it can be incredibly targeted as opposed to something broad against the government of Sierra Leone or something that affects the people of Sierra Leone. This is specifically targeting people who we believe were involved in undermining the democratic process in Sierra Leone.
And the categorization of this ban, it's not quite specific. So who are those that are on the list of that visa ban?
Yeah, I know that's a question that everyone has been asking. And under U.S. law, individual visa records are confidential. So we can't provide details on who exactly is affected by this. I will also say that this is the announcement of a policy, and so additional names can be added to the list of people who are subject to this visa restriction if additional information comes out later down the road. But what I can say is that this policy will apply to individuals who are involved in manipulation of vote results, intimidation of voters and civil society organizations, election observers, people who threatened physical violence or other activity that undermines Sierra Leone's democratic process. The policy can also affect certain family members of those who are found ineligible.
And speaking about family members, some of those people that this visa ban might be targeting, some of them already have families abroad. Some of them, their kids are probably U.S. citizens. How are you going to deal with their own cases?
Well, a U.S. citizen, you can't reject any possibility for them to travel to the U.S. But if anyone who is affected by this policy already has a U.S. visa, then that visa will be revoked, and we will let them know. And if someone is traveling to the U.S. and applying for it, then they'll see that they have the visa ban already. This doesn't apply to people who already are U.S. citizens or live in the U.S. because we don't. U.S. citizens don't need visas, and this is a visa policy.
Okay, and later this month we'll be having the UN General Assembly. Will our president and some of his cabinet ministers be allowed to attend? I mean, in the light of what you've just announced.
Well, as I've said, we can't confirm who all is on the list. I do know that there are possibilities, if it's deemed necessary, to give waivers to people with visa ineligibilities. In cases in the past, not specific to Sierra Leone, but in cases in the past, it has been possible to get people who would otherwise not be eligible for a U.S. visa a waiver to attend a specific function like the UN. But that's determined on a case-by-case basis and based on the best interest of the United States. So again, I can't confirm or deny who's on the list, but if it is deemed necessary, waivers can be made for specific purposes of travel.
And at what point will this policy be reversed? What does Sierra Leone need to do?
So there's not a timeline for reversal. I think once someone has been determined ineligible for a visa, that can stay on the file for quite a long time. It can also stay on the file for the length of that person's life. Sierra Leone, this is not against Sierra Leone or the government of Sierra Leone. This is against certain individuals.
And now there are a lot of apprehensions for people who are students, are business people. Will consular services still consider them eligible for visas?
Well, if they were not involved in undermining the democratic process in Sierra Leone, they have nothing to worry about. So this is really focused on people who were undermining the democratic process, who were involved in manipulation or vote results. This has no effect on your average Sierra Leonean citizen who's just going about their life and wants to visit the U.S. or travel. So it is a very targeted program. It is not against all Sierra Leoneans. It's only against certain specific individuals.
All right. Thanks a lot for talking to us this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Have a good one.
All right. Now, Sarah Van Horn, Public Affairs Officer.
Yes, then Sarah Van Horn, the Public Affairs person of the U.S. Embassy, Nafriton Salon. This now we are in TV Salon, and we are live on all the channel them, and we talk about this U.S. visa restrictions on some Sierra Leoneans. Well, the Public Affairs person is very clean and clear in which they try for talk. We talk about the one that we affected. You know, name names, you know, call nobody, but we all know me and you know the one that we participate in this election, so we don't do bad. At that country, they kill people, and the one that will take the greatest responsibility. The last time I've been there, I think I've been talking about Charles Taylor. We want by the team, we make the Mecca and go to court. And because if he say Sierra Leone will want to taste the bitterness of war, because of that statement, what it makes it Sierra Leone will want to taste the bitterness of war, even though you're not all gone and go fire a person, but now one part of the team, they make and go to the International Criminal Court. Okay, but the Public Affairs person, they talk about the family members, they talk about waiting, but I talk about something where they call the waiver. That waiver, they now actually want to read what he can make the waiver, because he talk about, say, the U.S. government or the State Department can give a waiver on some people, but not on a case-by-case basis. So I didn't read the particular section where talk about waiver, how they can waiver a visa waiver on certain individuals. Okay, under 7031. 3, it's a waiver. It said the secretary, the secretary of the State Department may waive the application of paragraph 1 if the secretary determines that the waiver will serve a compelling national interest, or that the circumstances which cause the individual to be ineligible have changed sufficiently. That is, it only waive, okay, the fourth point says it waive if the application, the secretary don't determine, say the waiver, they don't get compelling national interest, okay, or the circumstances don't change based on what in them put the restriction on, okay. Now that's in the tribal say. So in this case in Sierra Leone, have the circumstances changed? Then we pay. Then I want coach of our answer to you, because this I read directly. They say the waive, for example, it's set to determine, say the waiver it get compelling national interest. When you say national interest, now the interest of the United States. You get compelling national interest on the United States, or they say it don't get sufficient evidence, say the situation don't change or don't improve. And I'll answer down the voice to you. Last stop. What do you think on that particular clause, the vote?
Well, like we've been talk about the United Nations Summit.
Yes.
I think say in one of the waiver and that thing, because it really get for national interest or national issue or what issue to be because if you look at waiting, then we go for both discourse and all of them things there, Yes, they might give a waiver in another area, but like I say, not for every individual. Before this time, madam, maybe they work out 15 people where you just come and then they announce to everybody, but now the work out almost. So then therefore make sure say then court per one and day, then therefore look certain people inside the list and say no, you're not supposed to go. You go because you get important roles for go play. Maybe you get for go give speech, or maybe you get for look at the president in speech. Maybe you get for look at the president in ABC, the president in this. Very key people and then they get for give waiver in this area. And I'm not sure saying a bad idea that day for them and give waiver. But I want to make them very clear, not to every time they give waiver to them. Like this one is very, very much important. Now World Summit. So of course now United Nations, but not to all time that they give a waiver. So let them get them very clear on that area this waiver.
Yeah. So I'll make a point, all right? Because again, under section 2, we get what they call exception. They say individuals shall not be ineligible for entry in the United States pursuant to section 1 if such entry will further important United States law enforcement objectives. Then also, or it's necessary to permit the United States to fulfill its obligations under the United Nations Headquarters Agreement, provided that nothing in paragraph 1 shall be construed or derogate from United States government obligations under applicable international law. Okay, and I look into 2 ways, right? The United States get right for work with the United Nations for promote international peace and international diplomacy. That is one aspect. Another aspect, the United States get an obligation for hold people accountable and promote human rights all over the world. So this is like it's like a double edge. Whether you take a left or you take a right, okay? Whilst the US gets the obligation for fulfill UN obligations and standards, all right, which is they're not going to deny somebody for UN conference, but the United States also gets obligation for fulfill international human rights obligations for protect people all over the world. So which angle will one go, or which angle will see this they go now? I'll send them back to you. I just go and make that point there a little bit clear and send them back to you.
Well, also the thing I want to talk about very important. The United States they get their own laws, and they get to, and they make it clear in this statement here. They say we there for protect, the rule of law and and democracy, human rights everywhere. So then get that obligation there for make sure say people go according to that. Very sorry, but at the same time. United States they under UN, and UN then they organize this thing. So because of a UN they organize them and taking into consideration how serious this day, they will allow whosoever they don't give ban for let it go. But remember, it gets some penalty when it go it.
If like it restricts you.
Yes,
like it restricts you. Come into that briefly. Yeah, like it restricts you. I'll say. If the UN conference in New York, like me in New York, and as I be in New York, I go to the Manhattan area, and I did the UN conference day, and they get hotel within the Manhattan area. Then you say, okay, would they allow you for come? Now the UN conference they come. The hotel where they stay, now New York, now Manhattan. Also maybe 5 or 10 minutes for come inside the UN conference. I don't know where they did. Which means when you come on a conference, you work at when you come on a hotel in the morning, or wait, not begin from the airport. Where can on the airport? Therefore, drive you can't inside your hotel, you say you get for stay. Okay. When you left your hotel in the morning, now for going to the UN conference. When you come on at the UN conference, you will come back to your hotel. Okay. Then when the conference done, back to the airport, then back to the country inside come on. So that can be another restriction wherein you don't get that free way for what can go any side where you feel for go. But because now UN they want to respect the UN obligations, they can say, okay, come. But when you come, you don't for go any other side, we're not going nothing for do the UN inside camp. From your place, you say stay, you will tell you stay to the UN conference and back. Then when the conference done, if I go back to my country, you say come on. That's again a able to one. That's again another form.
For that restriction, there's some people can stay under house arrest because you not get right for the pass freely. Even the state says that you not get right for pass freely. That is why they give security and they give driver, they give everything. From a conference you come fine. After conference, go to your hotel, enjoy your hotel, whatever food you want for enjoy them. When you want to come and do back, they take you go back and go do whatever you want. We not say that's what it will happen, but the possibility they follow happen that way.
Yeah, possible because definitely when you're under visa restriction, like definitely you are restricted. Then they restrict you And the cable say, yeah, come because of the UN camp, but we can not go so. If you New York camp at UN conference, focus on the UN conference. When no say, I come on, I go so for go, the cable restrict you, then get that power there for doing. And I also want to talk about a little bit.
Say, wait till you just tell me when we want to start the program about this whole, say, for example, Mother will go America and we can't do 50 dance for her. We don't know.
Yeah, sometimes they can able stop and say, if you come party or whoever.
Of the one then where the key
First, I just say, I don't know if President Bio in name then at the list. Because the list is confidential. Okay. So, yeah, it's possible to say if you come UN conference, go to UN conference. If they want to make party dance for Isu and the cable, so
sorry about that.
Yeah.
What did the letter say?
The letter say people they say people will participate either for manipulate the election before, during, and after, and one the way to commit human rights abuses and violations in the country, and one the way thief or undermine the democratic process in salon.
I use this opportunity for telling us, say, Alpha, I'm not the answer your question that day. You don't answer already. Yeah? Now what was I don't know. I technically ask you so. Let's just remind us say we return actually there's this documentary where we premiere soon. On this same channel where you watch show. We are in TV Salon. We premiere this documentary. And this documentary it was titled Bloody Democracy. Bloody Democracy and the title of the documentary where they come. And Alpha went to the ASO and put together that documentary. And we within the ASO, Sumit, myself, and Moses, now we give the technical hand. And again, we look forward for see, who that will really, push that document because documentary is very much expensive, for put together. For see who that will push them for let we complete them because we already get to the completion route where we don't go on behind the scene, nobody will not tell. Taking into consideration, so you just make reference to this. The discussion not going end if I not talk about this. Where one we bother me, we will get our money for our waiting and we not see the document. Maybe the document not come out, we don't know. And so we decide not for waiting because some people really want to see waiting it mean. So we decide for put a documentary together with the idea of Alpha 9 decide for put them together, and we give them the support to make sure say able for do that kind of documentary there. Some of them now will not say because we find out say the thing don't begin leak already. It is strong so much that it don't begin for leak. But your own are still not complete yet. We actually they try to finalize it now, and it will come out really soon. And we will tell you now when it will come out. We will begin giving you the I call Latin the trailer of the documentary. In other words, test of the documentary I get for looking at. So please stand by again for support the documentary for make sure say we actually go because we get up for use for different occasions, especially this September. We get plenty things for do that documentary there. So
thank you. Thank you, Zengbepe. Yeah, Bloody Democracy, documentary for capture of Salon. Most of the things already happened there. Yeah, very soon we will come out and we'll premiere. Don't forget. Thank you, Zengbepe. We bring that point there. Back to the issue they talk about.
Why you make a talk about the documentary. But the question you ask, you don't know if mother be the part of her. But now I ask you, say, what did the letter say or the statement? He said the one that will be at the greatest responsibility for lead the election, for undermine democracy, and the one that will commit human rights violation. And for example, you talk about Charles Taylor not old body camel. Now just what says Salon will take the same kind of thing, So if you win as the leader, start the statement and the way you make, and then they act on them, you self will take responsibility for the statement. Remember, you don't talk now for several attempts. So as a leader, if you vex self, you support them misunderstand them without vex to vex. So of course, Marabio now the king. Okay, after corner and Marabio, although na Marabio na make corner, but of course, them at the list. If you know how to talk them, let me talk them. You hide behind that side in a minute go.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to remind Fambulency, recently, as recent as August also, Russia, when a big country, they get money, they're wealthy, they get a lot of things, and then get a lot of, family, they will get money, will be residing at the United States, we get money, businesses. The United States decide to give them visa ban and restrictions to some families and then companies them. What they bring billions of dollars every year to the United States. They put visa restrictions on them and families. All right. And now it really hits Russia very hard. And like what they tell about billions of dollars, most of them Russians and they whenever they get the money and they can invest and do a lot of things, then put visa ban and restriction on most of them and their family members as recent as August. So how about a country like Sierra Leone where people are more not get much for contributing in the international space? So I think that people need to know about this. And also under then get what they call anti-kleptocracy and human rights, officials of foreign governments and their immediate family members about whom the Secretary of State has credible information have been involved directly or indirectly in significant corruption, including corruption related to the extraction of natural resources or gross violation of human rights, shall be ineligible for entry into the United States.
Hold on. Take that word back. Corruption waiting, gross waiting, waiting resources.
Significant corruption, including corruption related to the extraction of natural resources or gross human rights violations, shall be ineligible for entry into the United States.
Because they're very clear. Let's go to the sources. We couple and other things the way we for use for the country develop, and then we put them inside context, quick one. For example, you ask yourself question, what do they tell now? Lara Telopeas, they're on suspension. If you don't wonder, the reason being, Lara Telopeas, they expose things them what this government do, and they don't let them. Because they don't let them, they just for Timap one parame. So all of this they feel tired. I'll tell you something. They say na small piece, now they stop growth. You know that name? So all of the things they are so weighted up together. The last European issue and other people there. Even you send me to the school, they want the way they don't use Paramamide, na public television and radio. All that they count, all the come. Now we go to the corruption business. Now that they not just say in effect corruption. MCC money we can't get away with effect corruption. Even China that this BNTM, the Minister of Information, tell me say Marabio not do this for America. He do it because he feels safe for them and he love for them. But I'll tell you something. I just couple make. I'll tell you one thing. Anything when you see this government, pay attention for money they do. Everything. And there's so much strategic that they get the civil society members then we're very much well placed in the international community where they tell them all who send money they come up, waiting they need for them. And at the end of the day, they suddenly attack the money, but they not suddenly do any implementation. UNDP, and they don't tell me this the last they say, the government they get money, but they not they implement the things them for make it better the lives of people. And other people they don't want the money when they give it. So if we know able for use the money when they give it for do good work, they will give other people them. Now also the time where we suffer, when COVID the other things there, what happen with Manabio? And not we say it go on private visit. From private visit, when they start saying na honeymoon. From honeymoon, then tell we say na sick. The one grand trip, they tell we say no well, na sick is sick. Then tell we say na private visit, then tell we say na honeymoon. At the end of the day, how many $1 million we're missing? African Express come and talk about all of those things today. I think that will be okay because some people they give some kind flimsy comments about the African Express and the revolution. We're very much authentic. But guess what happened? All of what we see from the African Express, we see it filter down in the audit reports. Yeah? Where then tell we say, Mother they only take money in her hand. Like how they catch a Ali Bongo in family host. That book, money. Mother they only put money inside plane. He go with and say they go pay hospital bill. Who serious not among will do so? BBC media says at one point when you work at as long as my money, they say let them do bank transfer. For example, I'm go pay hotel. If they can't go money physical one, hotel.
No.
If they can't go money physical one,
no.
No bank. Then they give check. You go pay. But other than a whole waiting that the country, the work of money in a bank. The corruption that one day. Honeymoon spend almost $1 million when people in the suffer. People in the suffer. You commodity for one day December, he spend almost $1 million again. You commodity, he get with after we see Implication. Well, this way we'll be talk about the family members, Why the family members? Either in Bobo Fatima, for example, in Bobo, what happened this BNT? Not of money use the bluff to tell people in the cry for hunger, add up and hunger. He use money to make telephone per week. They blow off we. Then normally dance per week at TikTok. All of that one and the filter inside on things in it. And remember, the UFC and human rights report will make what is being said. It be really, really dominating. It not been good for the
Yes.
country. It not been really, really
Yes.
good. And all the things that they were not been good, all of the reports. But one thing there about this government, see this government in the world. Anybody when they criticize bad things the way they do, where they're supposed to listen to them and correct the wrong things the way they do, they don't let you. If you see government report come about government, you see the government hailer, mostly the government that report is praise the government. But any report where point the negative things of this government, then they go back at you. Don't look at what happened in the European Union. When they pull report the other day, tell me say them institutions, so they're not glad with them, people they're not glad with the court, the this, the that, and Magabio and all and the government, all of it. They're not bash you European Union. They don't ask you European Union, also them pull the other than talk to. But if that report they come, they say the government did very well. For example, the MCC on corruption, when they say the government do very well, they get 98% in corruption. They ever ask how they talk to how they reach to that conclusion? Because in the president, now they reach the worst part of this government. They don't listen to people when they criticize them. And anybody when they criticize you, now for letting you do good things. Because if you listen to that criticism, you go able to work out with things then. So of course, Mara is still there at the top of the list. And interestingly, we don't agree for names them. But people they will submit the names them. They submit them by figure, by name, by all things. So when they see white class and they scroll through our WhatsApp, I see like 39 names them. 39 names them. Where people they don't put. If you don't mind, I'll just call one or two people and let you something. It's very interesting. Now WhatsApp is fake information, but it makes sense to listen what they say. Yeah. Number one at the list. Yeah. Now one and calling. Number two at the list now Adola Valley. Number three na Ibrahim Tomi. Number four John Cocker of Family Talk. Then they get Abdul Fatoma, then the civil society, they get Party Coca na PP and Upper Ide. Then get Ambrose Michael Sovola, former IG, then get William Faratel, then get Dr. Julius Spencer, Dr. Kade Yunkela, Desmond Babatunde and Edward. Then get Justice Alhaji Momoja Stevens, then get Justice Komba Kamada, then get Patrick K. Lavarun, of course, the military, then get Justice Adrian Fisher. Then get Laelo and Flima, then get Fatma Tatawane, then get Yusuf Peketuma, then get Cabinet Kalot, then get Umaru Paranta Wali, when at the Black Parliament, then get Muhammad Yaman Fouare, Rado, then get Muhammad Tunis, ECOWAS Speaker, then get Fatima Bio, wife of President, then get Prince Adi, then get Umaru Napoleon, then get Dr. Abbas Bundu, then get Joseph Sano, then get Austin Johnny, then get Mahawa Aliyu, of course, it's Abima Aliyu. Then get Josephine Jackson.
Okay, maybe I'm let's stop the list because the name them.
Then get Silamina. Then get lawyer Abdullahi Masiande. When a PPRC, all ECSL commissioner. Then get Abu Habu. Then get Dr. David Moinina Senge. Then get Dr. David Saluva. Then get the last one Alpha Side Ubangua. For me, the last one is Alpha Side Ubangua. The thing when they use for out Alpha Side Ubangua inside, Mr. series in that lie you waiting and see about that. They say Alpha Side Ubangua, one of the perpetrators of the August 10 massacre. Indeed, after when vice presidents join them, they don't come and talk, say anybody when they see, they will take action against them. Now in come and the strict instruction to the police and the military. He tell them say anybody when they see in a street 3 o'clock when they don't announce that I call a curfew, then they shoot them on sight. And it did not happen. The next day they don't shoot how they call this guy. Namakini, they don't shoot her. They don't shoot you get right for the name daily.
Okay. Thank you, Zengbepe. Fambula, they watch me live on TV Salon and we had. I just want to make una know say that list to Zengbepe they read. Now waiting people and feel on WhatsApp put any pass up. But as far as the United States State Department concerned, the list is secret. They don't pull the name there out it. And I also remember when I say, I remember when I say after they don't announce and so every 90 days, then they review the list. The Secretary of State gets right every 90 days. They review the list, add other name there, and also submit reports to the State Department and the government of the United States, according to the law. All right. It did say, I read the section where they say not later than 30 days after enactment of this act, every 90 days thereafter, the Secretary of State shall submit a report, including a classified annex, if necessary, to the appropriate congressional committees and on the judiciary describing the information related to corruption or violation. So, like every 90 days, the Secretary of State they review the list. Now, when that press officer they talk about say they have to add other name, they get other information about other people, then go add. Of course, we talk about Abu Abu on that list. Well, personally, I feel say Abu Abu na him talk. I be hearing that talk we say he go tell you man say the mama and for wear black na McKinney and whatsoever, and after that you see where police and soldiers and go kill 6 people man we protect para generator na McKinney. So some of the statements they all one and some of the things that people like they talk about, even though the list is secret, but people and for no say the one maybe don't make public statements. And some of we don't they we don't they talk we don't they write, we don't they say this thing, but people and say no more hold on and just like for talk. Some of we say what you may about me, I don't work for government, I'm not doing party, I don't get no party card. I they talk things where I don't foresee. Some of we don't in communications and media for a long time, we don't they observe what's don't they carry on. From that way they go rape Satalamin. That woman when they go rape Nakalango after the elections, we 10 man and go follow around because they say it talk say if APC no win election, let them go follow around. Man then go pull and brutally then follow around. Nakalango. Okay, from that same day after the 2018 election, from that same day some people don't begin ring the bell about human rights and violation. This is the 21st century. You cannot do things and go free like how people may go and do in the internet. Oh, APC will do this, SLP will don't do this. Those were those times. Well, no, this is a different time in the world we're on. And let us give an example. In 2014, Umar Bashir, the president of Sudan, they refused and visa for come the UN conference in New York because the US not be give better reason, but no more. The ICC they don't declare them wanted. Then they don't put in name say they investigate. They want to investigate them for crimes against humanity and human rights violations. So 2013, a one kind of UN conference and deny them visa. What do you do? Now be the president of Sudan. What do you do? You don't do nothing. So I just want to let people know say a lot of things they happen. And because of all that, and I make when they have power, for be careful what you they say and what you they do and how they relate to people. Because of all of that. Now we don't see so. So the US, this sanction they on visa restriction, and definitely like I say, according to the reports and like what I don't put, every 90 days, the State Department they renew the list, also review the information where they go on the country. So now they're in this situation and the UN conference. So this is very important, and that just brings me to whether US the outgoing US ambassador been talk. Then I think the new minister of information and civic education they say if he say the ambassador in public opinion. I been talking straight was say no, that man not a public opinion. The United States government they work like other countries then. The diplomacy where they don't say that this way. And when the man talk, he talk as this now the US imposition. Okay. But they begin play down on that man in personal opinion and all of that and begin people that don't work for this government, they give people a lot of lie information. Information, public information, not for talk about lies. Now for telling people and the right thing and ready for face the magic. But don't begin lie for people and say, hey, don't reach so, don't reach so. It's not good in public information. You know good fetch public information and begin lie for people. You know they work. All right? Face the facts and try to face the situation. But now look what's out on it. But now moving on. The US now big partner, and not even put the US can just begin because how they see the world where the US can begin, other countries will begin fall like this stuff because normally the US the first can take the lead. As the US don't take the lead, other people are going to begin saying, if you see US don't take so now, it's a law goes so. So now the European Union is under 28 countries. They say we don't pull the reports on these elections. Then get their own reservations. Okay, the UK, they say Sudan and get their own reservations. Now the US. And this gets a big implication on the Sierra Leonean government. But Fambu, this now we had live on TV Salon and we had, and I know say time number Cuba will still continue. Now, Singapore moving on. After the election, people have been talking about Salon and sovereign state. The continent sovereign states, US or UK, now they tell you nothing, this and that, like on top of it. Now don't they also this? What do you think about that? I agree saying one sovereign states. Okay. But now not look at the importance, the benefits. We and the US, we need more from each other. Okay. So now look what's out on land. What do you think?
I don't know if I sabi the meaning of this word I want to. Then get this word when a man word, but I think I think the word at the same time. Then say Obongo Fort.
No, like empty bongo.
Yes, that you like bongo, you don't get nothing big. Talk that again.
So then I like that one day. But now,
the government again.
Yeah, and even the UN where they talk about, even the UN where they talk about the highest bidder, the people who they give money at the UN pass all are the United States, and they give money to the UN pass all. So if the United States say go to the United Nations, it's not going to tell us they know where they go to. They can dialogue, they can talk about. But when it comes to the highest money contribution to the United Nations are the United States. When I talk about WFP, UNHCR, all the UN bodies there and everything, the highest donor are the United States. Now I make the headquarters in New York. So tell me, if the United Nations will be able to fight the United States, they can just dialogue, but the United States, maybe on top, they go see like say on this and that. But the NBA and outside they talk, outside they take decisions. The United States will go this way. Trust me, the UN they listen. Because they are the highest bidder. They give money past all that nations. So tell me, what does this mean for Salone, the long run, and even this particular ban or this heat or this restriction? What does it mean for a country moving forward?
I think because the restriction, if you watch in the first interview with the American ambassador, they will say, they will continue for support the people of Salon, but certain things they will get for slow down. It means say get for get more hardship when it hits the people in. It means say plenty government will plan for day for some months they not get salary. Because I see yesterday one of the comments said where I say, wow, this person is heartless. He say the action of David Senge, anybody who knows they need pay and better, let left the work. That is to say, if they need pay better and you live now at alone, you get for spend all your money for transport, and then you get for suffer back now road to go and work. Say they left the work. So I see that particular person there in comments as very heartless something. But the people them now they get for bear the greatest, pain. Because like I can always take this one out, this Alibongo in host, where you see money. That's what they say they keep money. Find out say one time they do African Express, they do revolution. And the time we said and they go put money, like for the day they put money past almost 10. And the Bank of Salute. And I want to be using this way and Professor Kempala not able to control the way how they withdraw. It try, now they all continue or this government that the census react the way out they go. When make that 80 million where they say lawful, where they say bribe. Now the same government back in bribe. Because at the same government they go and take money, city fata now the government account. When make they end up back for good bribe, they for let them left the bills, so they will give them dollars, so they will aim for work out. Now the dollar now they'll be see so Fatima picking and they display to it. But going back to the difficulty or the pain, now we the people then, as it is for right now, see a long go, a lot of thing waiting at the easing, the government is not saying they need subsidize again. Why the government only subsidize again? They will tell you IMF then condition where they begin and say not subsidize because they know say we're not in a better position for let we able to take care of ourselves. Then they say, okay, now we pull small layer and like when the serviceman can say big hole cover hole. Now we get right now. And this is not the same situation. And this is the whole situation of worst. The last government failed themselves in this and they declare everything they call austerity. This government don't worse past the last government, but yet still they don't get mind come and talk about austerity. You know why? Because if they dare talk about them, they're not gonna get anything again for saying. But the bottom line now, we're in a worst case scenario. The recession we face right now, we not ever face them from after the war. Ever we not ever face them. So taking into consideration, donors then when they give money like every day, they like to trust them. For example, if Alpha wants to go for trust to you. I trust now. Now. Say Alpha, anytime when I catch me, I go to Alpha and give me. And go to Alpha and give me. If Alpha to buy say Bob I say go fair play with you. Bob are serious for another game. Not a problem for me. That's how they go to you. Not a problem. I'm going to again. A big time problem. So this is the problem right now. And this is one of the implications. Now we forget about the own travel because for we then travel is important to me. You know they enjoy the care with the need bigger. Because every day now money, nobody dey care what they need bigger for me. When matter be when you talk, when you don't travel on the 10. When you find your target and number, you say I don't have 20 million. Now the same money now almost all the way, even at the fair, it just go one tip when they go take a camp. Where anti-corruption, one after say, what happen? If you do, you use somebody who is not supposed for you. The money is spent by the person. Way less than the money we go carry. But they say no, that corruption. But man, every day, all these people don't tell me. Even if the hotel receipt, it go falsify. Still, anti-corruption say nothing only for investigate and the house of state house. As we talk so, all these reports by don't all these services don't can say, oh, check with matter the office not there and the audit report, they say no meet threshold. So for me, the travel will not mean nothing. Yeah, whether they ban them and their family, no what to do. But me not say they need to do because other country they follow them go. But the bottom line, as fear long go up right now, when they need subsidize, now we the people in the field, and they don't go 30,000, you know. I just think against the minimum say they can't jump to 35,000. One thing about Salon, if you see something against sing hallelujah, they didn't know what's in the answer, amen. Because anytime, let's say they pull something and say that take, listen fine, watch fine. The real one they can, then that test loyal. So this is the problem. Now where the people get for film? And some of we where if they pull chop money 1 million or the pull chop money 3 million, they didn't know for double amount because the hunger become more than how we be talent. Because things that are the market, the people we wait for the next report from Atopias where they come out to the common as fear price don't go up just now.
Thank you, Sengwe Pierre and Family, and we're live on Weird and TV Salon. And of course, the last part of the report say the information we're unclassified. That is what they want the public know. Now they publish. The US State Department say the other side we're classified, and the names of the people not enough for them no more in the embassies them who side and get for sending them that day. All right. So now that just the end of that particular. So that they tell you say what they want make una know out there that now they don't put out the names and some of the key crime them, what the people then do, when they put another list, what they not put out, then just put the general statement out. But the details of everything and all the one that we involved and everything they do, all right, with the evidence and they name them, then they will not for the public. It then at their own hand when I classify the information. All right. So Makuna say this now role we continue for world because not to today the issues they don't be careful. And people are not they talk, we all learn they talk. I don't know how much articles I don't write, international articles, some of them don't write, or don't they post on Facebook, you know, on websites.
I want you to something just a bit if you continue that. I just see something very much interesting. You know this for investigate the results. US embassy at the beginning picture thing, saying they investigate the results. Then we see Marabio go and announce Jules Jallo as the chairman for that committee. Then come back here, embassy say no. You know who be the referee, be the player at the same time. You know who benefits from this league, and then you want to be say you go investigate people. Today you investigate, and like the Paremba on the issue. So this now what they say. They say how we get competent people inside the country for handling the case of the election. But this person just remind me last year that the person if you don't go up. Okay, international observer say they say why it good for me 3 foreign judges them go good enough for judge the past government with COI. But not good for letting same then they apply the same thing to the current government. What basically tell say, what they say now, we don't need for voted person outside. We get enough competent people in. But when it comes for investigate the last government, when I look at 3 judges, Biobel and other one there for investigate. Why it not good now? This is not the government we see. Sorry about that and continue.
Thank you. And the chief minister, I mean, call all the former ministers and people and say they're all native man there. Instead of I don't put so.
I happy that they call them. Chief man and the
I don't know.
The most embarrassing one.
Anyway, thank you. You talk about if saying there about something where you do no good. But me, I also want to tell and thank you because as you say, you go visit LJ itself. Where the videos go out. You know, I think so. I want to tell and thank you for that because go visit LJ. But me on question was.
No, wait. Before you tell and thank you, ask what are the main plan for go visit LJ?
Okay, so based on what he talk, where I see on social media, he visit LJ, he talk to other prisoners, and he talk to LJ for making a real side of the story, and also he talk about say go and show say he go make sure they talk with the right people, and so that anybody who deserve justice will get them. But my point is the government of Salon, they always did before and they always machinate the issue for like LJ, for example, in a jail, they all be no say LJ not be supposed to even be there in the first place. What are the crime that they find LJ guilty for? One, they say riotous conduct, effect in the public. They say it's mobile phone, then it's 2 million euros. So we are me and you, Sierra Leoneans. We almost say and then trump up charges and just fix something per person because they're not like or make it there around, right? So you know the support for the but when you go greet them and say hey, you're really inside and talk to other people, I think that's just a good move because they even go talk to the prisoners because a lot of people they pay them barrow, they're not supposed for the day. They're not supposed for the day. So for make you go talk to them, make us tell and thank you for let even get that thought. Because all the people are not they doing. People like Lawrence Lima are not been doing. All the people are not able to do for go greet people and know what the man they do. The man they cutting that they all and lock up for nothing, say take mobile phone. Then take Chinese phone, we not even 3 million euros. They take money 2 million euros. Then they say effect na public. All and then are just people and they don't kill people and policemen and soldier man and they don't kill people and let them they go. People and they still ask for justice for their family, they don't die in the regime. They don't do nothing to them. So that make us tell and thank you because they go great LJ Napadema. Even the thoughts of saying la go there and talk to them. I give us a thumbs up to them for that particular act here. Now that's my point. Yeah.
Thank you, Alpha, for thanking Senge. But let's not go to these things small bit normal before because time not chase me.
Yeah.
And I offer you I know that say at exactly 9 o'clock salon time. And England Tea good day as well, you know, for a monthly review of the issues that all will happen in England Tea of the Mai go actually there as well. But let me go back to David Senge. David Senge really a social media person. And he know how to do PR. But unfortunately, when you look at the delivery part of the PR, what they do. Like deliberate act for let it go and go see LJ. How they never be don't go for go see LJ. One time after them on LJ not be for sale. After where if they don't tell them some kind of word them before, how we don't describe LJ. So LJ not be for sale. So why Senge go see LJ? Okay, good. For let we get justice for everybody. But I want to tell you, the act when they put down, when they put LJ for, they don't done. Now the election they keep LJ for because they know the LJ want to do not put for them. So they keep them for the election. I'll be telling them they say the election done. And the election not done. They want for February now, how they will see say, oh, they done this, they done that. And December, then they cancel them for pardon this, pardon that, pardon this, and pardon that. You understand what the type of say? The game don't done, man. Punish LJ for it, don't done. Not for the team when they go do. That just, you know, they can say, na bait. It just go for them and trap. What to you, man? Not to the anti-nande. The young thing, they know. And them and they got that in Sabi. And me know say, Fatima and all that put in hand. Because I want to make a call Fatima. They tell them go at for Fatima. They get the one they will use. But we see who side the same time when LJ gonna when they get LJ at Benghazi. Other people then go send LJ, then keep them all and then lock them. For just to send LJ, they lock them 3 years. Or almost year they give us. I said 3 years or almost years. But at the same time, this guy Prezo, now they all go with I call this baby Stasi. Because Stasi very close to the power that made Fatima and the others. They not touch here na Stasi in body. As they arrest them, when they make phone calls, Stasi don't go free. But all the other ones, they will not get link. When they not born meet money or they not born get sababu, they all they deal with, they all. There's no to this Bente and Komona, the way they explain the story. So the question is, what is the real intention behind the arrest of LJ? Then Sabi, that is as equal as that of Mohamed Kamariba. We don't know the deal there. The election, all of these are just political things. And remember, say LJ is one of this before that thing happen. They don't come like chest one time contest. And LJ don't go in support for a brother. And they don't begin the same strong word them talk to this government. So they just look for when they miss, so let them get her, and then they get her. So the game don't done. Then she say they for fear now. If you want to talk to her, not talk to him. And he herself, when they keep an I don't talk about. So of course, they can try and manage here.
Well, if Papa be say if you want PK here, no guy. He said I think they lock himself. Or we go ask for PK here.
They look up. They say one time about justice. They go talk to the people there. They look up for that.
You know, family sorry because I can laugh, but some of them things there and I think they all when you put all of these things together, when you make Urutu so wrong so people get for be human, you know. People just get for be human. Think like a human being. All right. You arrest the man and say, go to Chinese mobile phone. Okay. It's 2 million. The man may go over 20 something million loan in hand. He gets a whole team behind. He gets people. He gets a car where they go. It's where they fear. He get people behind where they work out. Go to 2 million loans, he go over 20 something million loan in hand. If they use iPhone, they go to Techno phone. They say, when I pull the video, what did the thing happen at the fear station? I'm not going to pull the video. Okay. Nothing. When I lock them up back, say they in a jail. When I lock people, Kamareba, they say he go, with picky where they under the age of consent. And lock and take they go.
The picky, if you don't tackle, you don't even put before you but they still lock up because you know what that is easy. At every month, Mohammed Kamareba, they don't begin pull. And I will tell that for you, Mohammed Kamareba are the very first person that they begin for hammer this government and tell you about that man of so they don't go let them for that. And if you just don't begin enter by the budget there, how they spend money, that make all of the things and that make. Anyway, I want to encourage you now. So please go and like and share the program. And I want to tell you now, say we get the time for reach 100,000 subscribers by October this year, and we already going to get 86,736, and we still get more. You only watching on Facebook, please, we encourage you to come over now. If you don't subscribe to YouTube platform, subscribe and support me. This not only means say now we will benefit, but everybody says where they developing content because Salon not then a YouTube partnership for monetize. So if we begin going in that ceiling, we will be ambassador for begin advocate and make sure say we company for being monetized because they say better to be monetized. And all of this 1,100,000 will effect for so. Other countries they don't get them, they don't tire. They don't get million, they don't tire. And now we effect for 100. So please do not support me at least. Let me say reach 100. And as well, do not forget TV Salon. They do a very good job. Please do not support them. Let we all grow together. Now, when we all research together, we'll be able for each two sides, one for each. Thank you very much. And I want to tell thank you to two people where on Siri now we YouTube platform when Apple of God's Eye, they don't give me $10, and then we get Father 3399, we don't give me $10. Thank you very much. Over to you, Alpha. At exactly 9 hours for my we get tea with the very
Thank you. And before they left, I just want to make a review quick the newspapers will come out, and most of them interestingly cover the story about the US ban. And this was one where you see the what they talk about. They say for undermining the democratic process, US imposes visa ban on Sierra Leone officials. Okay, then Dong President Bill prioritizes human capital development. That's the way that they watch the newspaper will come out last week. Okay, now continue with more newspapers. The next one,
yes, the executive newspaper say it is not about punishment or for the sake of punishment. Chief Minister wants MDAs. Massive ship lots officer, NIA Commissioner General takes proactive steps. That's from the executive newspaper.
All right, we move to the next paper, Concord Times, where they say US visa restrictions for undermining democracy in Sierra Leone. They see it's a shameful new building workers. That is not too clear to me, but I'm always to read the plus more. Then at the Concord Times newspaper.
The News Times Daily, the First Lady Fatima Bio addresses global leaders on human trafficking. You as well get Transport Minister visit agencies under his supervision. This is another story that they for you inside this edition of the News Times Daily.
Okay, now we get GBBI Times, where they say Honorable Kane thanks President Bio, and in the CM, and they also see the Chief Minister and President Bio, and all that story there and more. Then at the GBBI newspaper. This is a newspaper. I don't know much about it.
GBBI.
Yes, but more newspapers now. Over to you.
Right. The Awareness Times newspaper that the next speak say H.E. Marabio's officials may not get any visa ban. I think this might be the thing we'll be the time for talk about just now. About whether they're for ban because of them to go on official trip or not.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about Dr. Sylvia Blyden, he always he like for spin things around, but interestingly, he writes up there now mostly either on Facebook page or on Awareness Times. You know, can go past. I don't ever see international publications, big one the way we don't do it. but I see awareness times on Facebook page. Of course, don't block me, so I'm not able to see stuff again on.
I be best of it. So now I don't block you, don't begin vex. You know vex. No vex nothing. Don't take
Ah,
this Twitter.
Daybreak, they say USA government drops bombshell. Also, therefore, do with this visa restriction, and they say a new chapter on Leon Rock Metal Group's exportation. All let's read and then at the Daybreak newspaper.
The Night Watch, the next week, was a stolen elections. US imposes travel ban on government officials. And other story for inside this particular meeting, they get a great call. Talk and do government kills Seattle. 1 year without salaries, no equipment, no leave allowance, and the office turn. Okay, so you don't turn something else anyway.
Thank you. Yes. Africa 20. Yeah, of course. Africa 24 Sierra Leoneans brace up under these hard times. All right. So then you just tell these Salon people let them brace up because of hard times and more hard times, and say they come and buy the Africa 24 newspaper and read more of the story them.
Interestingly, I be asked the one way they pull this paper, so we think they make some people like this. So this is me, I was things there. Where you have to write down. The satire is not the go up 100%. The how they call that fear long go up almost percent. You get other things that really go up. The dollar, the dollar don't go 2,500,000. Anyway, so these are the situation.
Okay.
Well, news say US government imposes ban. They are in big trouble. 10-year-old and sexually abused on African Child's Day. Letter to presidents. What this picture of mother really big problem.
All right, the open space. I don't know if we're able to read all because I'm plenty more. Maybe we end in this next 5 minutes because now it's 25 minutes past. Now, this open space, they say, first ports female deputy general manager takes office and President Bio enhances press freedom and political inclusion. Okay. All right. Let's talk again at the open space newspaper. Okay.
And the next paper when we get inside the program now, the new vision. Constitutional review process, President Bio reiterate commitment. I think that's how we meet with large information minister and all. They talk about the press freedom. I wonder how free the press.
Yes, Global Times say police to act tough on lawlessness, and they see the IG and Western area to get 148 megawatts of electricity supply. This electricity business, okay, jail for manslaughter. All this will be again. Of course, Global Times, on the paper we align with the current government and the current party. So, of course.
All right, and this other one where now the women's voice say. Kudos to President Bio again as Port Authority get first female deputy GM. Dr. Lahai blast over gender insensitive gas. Please, I want to hold on quickly. Look at this thing here. I see several things. Can you imagine? You see, Mother Bio immediately they discriminate against the LGBT community. You know what the LGBT, right? The lesbian and gay community. A whole president's office, but I was surprised. You know why? Because the presidency office, right inside the presidency office, in security, they don't go abuse one woman there. That time where the woman they be come out for protest. They can't go this lady right inside State House. Then later they go left for the CID. We all see the video, so it's not only on the makeup. So we find out that the media team of how they call them, Marabio, they continuously abuse. Why outside this thing from where I see this too? The wife of Lahai and Dr. Lahai, then they refer to them as LGBT new appointee. And then they try to ridicule that particular community day. And now these same people they want to go down at the UN, who say then they say then they protect human rights. But at the same time, they not allow other people and forget rights to waiting, then post for their rights. And at the office of the president, where they talk about in this case. We move.
Wow. That's deep. Definitely. To be honest, I see the article and we've been referred to Dr. Lahai with different things. We just have been condemned, but as usual in Sierra Leone, nobody not talk. But I see later people in the public say how the man they intimidate or they usurp women's empowerment or something like that, because they say a lot
So
of
you
things
asked me a question
consistently.
about insult women. Now, Sylvia Blyden they defend Fatima Bio. Say and Dr. Lai tell them to, and then this now the attack when they talk about Sylvia Blyden call on them for the attacks Dr. Lahai. Now that they do them, and now that they do them, and they even abuse the office of the president for one.
Sad. So you don't see. I remember what I tell you about when they go rape that woman like Alao. I do that post in 2018. I post on one of women's organizations. People always supposed to talk for women. Them. Some of them even come at me. Say why are they go posting and that kind of posting? Why I for tag them? I was like, me putting this information out and tagging Una as we're supposed to be women's rights advocates for let Una come and support Una company woman. Because they go rape 10 man go rape in front of him family. Because he say if President Bio win the election, he say let them lead out. Then go grip him. Sasante. Then lead out. 10 man inside Kerlau. Why I publish that story then on Facebook, I tag woman the one is supposed for fight for the company woman. Then come at me differently, say, oh, why for tag this is a political issue, this and that. So then try to twist and turn the story. And I make
Indeed, it's a political issue. But because it's a political issue, they're not supposed to defend them. They're not getting right to their own privacy. This is not the situation. And I bet you, if you tag right now, the women's forum, they call it, women's forum president in that particular issue, it will on tag himself. Because it relates more to the other hand, and it will see this woman as the other hand. So we move.
Yeah. So, Fambo, honestly, all these things, putting together, all let you make to do all this. I don't say, hey, last these people when we go read now, we cannot say don't for 30. We say one few minutes now, don't go, I think 1 hour 30 minutes almost. But the source is they say President Bill appoints you to head EPA and mastership. They said the Excel, Africell, and all next to it, and they plus more than the source news. But Fambo, I think say me
we just stay for the week right now.
Mastership, they go salon, not for the first time for like go salon, like a humanitarian and mastership, people know they back now from America and so, and you go and men people all over the world go dock one side, men people and then move go other side. So then
they fake news. And the first thing is for the mastership inside salon.
No, I can tell you say not true because mastership don't go salon for several years. It can always go, not always alone. And then they go Senegal and they go different other countries all over the world where men people and get doctors and anything. But definitely Fambo, this now the other newspaper, the modern series. Probably you go read them, then we'll end the program.
All right, the modern series, now the next paper, one of the last paper we'll take, saying NIA Chief Dialogues with Business Community, and you as well get all the story that we did inside this edition of this particular paper. Chief Minister commences at the on the spot check in NDAs. All right, all the paper, and this one we take for today inside the program.
But thank you, people, family, on all only watch now we are in TV salon. I want to say thank you. Apologies if I can laugh. I know it be so tense, but I don't say this is a serious issue so we talk about. Today we'll discuss about the implication and also cite the particular sections and where the US they use for give visa and visa restriction and ban to certain people or countries, and also give some background information on other people who we don't suffer from the past, and also talk about what's in the US their own international obligations as how we get at their own law books. And then we'll try for review today. TV Salon and we are therefore continue for the new program together. But for second, we all maybe I will sign up to Segway Pay. Let him tell you bye before then we go wrap up now and end the program. All right. Over to you, Segway Pay. What will be the final message today?
All right. I just want to tell you thank you for where I'm gonna put together a video program like this. And thanks for the engineer, the person we did behind the scene. They do all of this wonderful graphics. Thank you very much. I will appreciate you so much. And thanks for you. We don't like, you don't share your comments, you don't share the program, and so you don't subscribe. If you don't subscribe, please consider for subscribe. Now the platform where you watch right now. One more time. My name is Sumit, the Freedom Fighter. And until we meet again, it's another edition. Join me again a few more minutes from now as England Tea will be live with the monthly review of all the big issues that will happen inside the country. I'm out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. From Sengbe Pair, we add to TV Salon Alpha. And will not forget, even as the program done, the conversation they continue online. You can add the comment, share, like, and all of that. That's all the beautiful channel there. Fambulen would they have a view the facts, and I would only do all this while other people and view the wrong information. So when they say they lie, or they say the truth, so when they accuse you for being partisan, but don't they foresee all the situation there and they make all of you don't and view information. So till we come back, thank you for subscribing to TV Salon and Riyadh, and we'll be back hopefully next week to continue with more discussions. Until then, I'm Will Washington DC Studios. I thank you to my brother and our Riyadh Studios, and until then, Mina Alpha Kamara. All right. But thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and always subscribe, like TV Salon and Riyadh. God bless and a happy weekend.